Hey y'all, welcome to Where is the Love?
What's good, good people?
I am one of the hosts. I am Stephanie Hawkenholm.
And I am Adisa Malik, formerly known as Gene Williams. Good to see y'all. Peace and love.
We're excited to be back. So today we're going to be talking about learning to receive love without fear and what happens when love is offered, but your body expects harm. So go ahead and welcome him in, Gene.
Hey, hey. So, so why is love so hard to receive? So welcome back to, as she said, welcome back to Where's the Love? Today we're talking about something many people don't know how to name. Why love feels uncomfortable after trauma. Uh, why kindness can feel suspicious. And why some people pull away not because they don't want love, but because they've never felt safe receiving it. And feeling safe in a relationship is a major thing.
So, for a lot of people, love came with conditions: affection followed by withdrawal, praise followed by criticism. So, the nervous system learned love doesn't last, which means when healthy love shows up, the body braces instead of opens. And before we go any further, we didn't tell the people where they can watch us from. We just jumped
Sure
right
did.
into
We
the
went right
show.
into that. We got right in there. We said, play. We going in. Let's go. Let's go. Gotta get in there. All right.
So you can join us. You can join us in a number of places. You can join us on YouTube channels, Love Misunderstood Institute or Premier Fitness 0210. You can also watch us on Roku. We're on TV right now. Roku and Amazon Fire. No, Amazon Fire. Is that right?
Yes.
It's been
Yes.
so doggone long. Roku and Amazon Fire. Ooh, we shame, shame, shame.
VOD TV. Shame, shame, shame. I don't want to go to Mexico no more, more, more. Is a bit. Oh, sorry.
So when you go to Roku or Amazon Fire, all you have to do is search PODTV space LIVE, and you can watch us live only while we're airing the show or if it's a replay. So welcome, and watch us on TV. Um, and I don't have nothing else to say. Just welcome and thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
So let's move forward with this conversation. Again,
for
if you
sure.
didn't catch the first part, we're talking about why love is hard to receive and then learning to receive love without fear. So let's move forward.
Right. So yeah, it's difficult, especially after like a traumatic relationship where there's, intentional love bombing and things of that nature, where they shower you with love and affection and attention until they get what they want, and then they withdraw that attention and energy because now they got what they wanted. So now you're in their web. Uh, is a very unfortunate part of relationships with a person with narcissistic uh, personality disorder or just a manipulative person.
Yep.
So many people confuse intensity with love because intensity feels familiar, ups and downs, emotional highs and lows. But healthy love is consistent, predictable, and that can feel boring or even scary at first. I actually had a conversation with Danica the other day about boring. Now, we want to talk about it in this context, but I mean, in a relationship, being able to uh, rest in knowing that this person is consistent and solid, you know, like that is a beautiful thing. It's unfortunate that we've been taught that drama and trauma and chaos is how love is supposed to look. It doesn't have to look like that. Real love is actually peaceful.
Right.
You can be yourself wholeheartedly, be loved unconditionally, you know. I mean, obviously with boundaries, because I mean, if you mess up too many times on the same thing, we got an issue, player. We
Right.
got an issue.
And so
But
I want to go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you
No,
go ahead.
I'm
So
done. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that love can be scary because of all the things that you experience, and some of what you just touched on. If it's not honesty, if it's not an honest relationship, a true relationship, no matter what kind of relationship it doesn't have to just be an intimate relationship. It can be with family members or coworkers or neighbors, um,
Right.
anybody. you know um, Love is fine until you do something or say something that I can't trust you. Now I gotta watch you. I feel
Right.
like I gotta watch you because I don't know how you come in. If you come in with honesty and truth, or if you come in with falsehood and lies. So now that's how I'm gonna be looking at you. But real love is peaceful. You said that real love feels peaceful. It feels um, there's balance. We know how to balance real love. And if we're thinking about, I've been watching Jesus of Nazareth all day, and before we got on here, I, well, most of, for some hours, I looked to see how long it was. It came on at 10:30 this morning, not going off till 6 this evening. I was
Oh
like,
wow.
wow. Yeah. And I've
Whole
been
work
watching
day.
it for a couple, yeah, I've been watching it for a couple hours. But anyway, I forgot why I pointed that out, but real love is peaceful. It's you are treating others the way you want to be treated. Um, and if are mad or angry about something, and the way you respond to somebody or the way you react, um, the are different. You respond, not lashing out at people. You pause and take the time to respond, in a peaceful way, not in a way to attack you, not in a way to make you feel bad or make you feel ashamed or make you feel guilty. And I just shared this in a daycare training on Friday. Some of what I just said, it's we when we really care about each other, we don't have to watch out, be on watch or on guard because I don't know how you coming, And if you do come to me in a way, if you react to me, um, to what I'm doing, you're gonna yell at me or cuss me out or make me feel ashamed or make me feel guilty. And when you do all that, I'm not talking. I'm not talking to you. I can't trust you. I don't feel safe with you. Um, and in order for me to know that that you really love me, I feel I got to feel safe with you. I got to be able to trust you. um so I just wanted to add that. Kind of went
Yeah.
back into Friday's teaching. But you want to add anything?
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say the unfortunate thing about, like, again, being formally in a tense um relationship where communication was not a good, was not good. Like, it makes you uh, guarded, you know. It's just in a situation where you have a person who's genuinely there to love you, unconditionally, treat treat you with the proper respect. Um, and like I said, just going back to love unconditionally. Um, you know, it's um it's just it's a process. It's a process. I will speak from, going from the relationship with the person, who I was with last, going into this relationship, like, my new partner, new wife, we both have like we went through a period of being afraid of
Yep.
accepting love and looking at love like, can I trust? Is this a setup? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Something along those lines. Like, and we had to over time realize that we both have each other's best intentions in mind. Um, so and that again, that's what I love about the relationship that we have. We both went through our stuff. We had fallouts. You know a little bit about some of them.
Yeah.
Um, we had those fallouts, and then we were able to come back to or have a come to Jesus moment and talk the stuff out like two adults who
Yeah.
have been traumatized by other relationships and realize that that whole drama that we just experienced really had nothing to do with the two of us. It was
Yep.
us tuning into past trauma and feeling triggered,
Yep.
and then we lash out at each other. So once you
Yep.
realize that the person that you're with, and this could be again, like you said, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could
Yep.
be a friendship, could be a business partnership. There's levels and layers to relationships. Um, but just having, like I said, the ability to talk, uh,
Go ahead. I'm
um,
sorry.
yeah, just being able to talk to whoever you're in a relationship with, openly and freely and in a loving way with and things are handled constructively, then it helps um, you to feel more comfortable, you to settle in to the knowledge that this is a relationship that's genuinely loving,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and but it's a process. Don't expect to go from a traumatic, abusive relationship uh, smoothly into a calm, peaceful, loving relationship because you're gonna have those. You got muscle memory. You
Right.
got muscle memory. You got cell memory from what happened before in the last relationship. And so when things seem peaceful, like they would I know for me, in the old relationship, like when things got quiet, I'm like,
The peace before the
something major is
storm.
about to. You're right, exactly. Exactly how I felt. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like she been too calm for these
Yeah.
last few days. Something hell is about to come upon us.
Yep.
Watch out for it. It may
Yep.
be fire in the sky. No
Yep.
more water, the fire next time.
It's gonna rain. It's gonna
It's
rain.
gonna
It's about to storm.
it's about to storm. We're about to have a flood. Why is she so peaceful right now? This is a good thing, but not a good thing. I'm scared. I'm
Mark,
scared. Not
Mark,
scared, scared.
Mark said, "Look, the calm before the storm," and he said, "Look out for that tornado personality."
I'm telling you, be a
So,
whole Tasmanian devil type thing.
so I
Anyway,
want to make a comment about some of the things that you said. So, like your current relationship, when you come out of a relationship like the one you came out of, coming into the one that you did, both of y'all brought baggage. Both of y'all brought pain. Both of y'all brought
yep,
trauma. Um,
yep,
and thanks be to God, y'all, started recognizing what was happening. I'm triggered, and so you don't even really know, what you just did to me,
hmm
brought back my past. And
right,
so, I'm lashing out at you and attacking you because of something that happened before you,
right,
and so to be able to sit down and to talk about that and look at it, and some of the shows you've shared, how y'all are able to talk about things, and okay, well, I I know you need peace right now, or maybe not saying peace. I know you need time right now, so I'm here for you. When
right,
you need me. So, and just backing off and giving that person the space. So,
right,
I'm really thankful that y'all have learned how to do that, and that's something that we all have to learn how to do in relationships in order to move forward. We can't
Right.
move forward carrying that baggage, and we're going to bring baggage because it's just a part of us. But it's a,
Right.
being aware that's what's happening. I'm triggered because I brought baggage because this used to happen in the last relationship or in another relationship, and it really hurt, and I never did get healed from that. So here I am bringing this to you, and you have no idea, what you just said or what you just did. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's great to hear, hey, we take time to, and sometimes you might not always think that way, but then because you walk in together, you know how to remind each other at least, hey, um, you know, whatever
This
you
ain't
need to
that.
say or what, right.
This ain't
And
that.
right. And so to be able to move forward from that point, right? Because then at that point, you like, hey, I'm bringing it to your attention what you're doing or what you just did or what you just said. So now
Right.
that I brought it to your attention, what you gonna do with it? And
Yep.
so that's really big because you're helping that person to acknowledge, you know, what they did or what they said, and
Right.
to get, let's, we off track, let's get it back together because we ain't going in the same direction, we going in separate directions right now.
Right.
um you want to add something?
No, I mean, like I agree. Just the loving reminders that, like I said, this ain't that, but more in detail. Like, I understand that you're triggered by. Yeah, I apologize that I triggered you. It was not intentional. Um, and what you experience with the other person is not what you're experiencing now. You may feel like you are, but what I mean, just like having the ability to sit down and again talk about, where you are, what you feel, why you feel the way you feel, and then coming to a resolve, like understanding, okay, yeah, it may have felt like that thing that I experienced before, but it wasn't that.
Right.
But it did trigger me,
Yeah.
and having that recognition, which means to re-know. The word recognize is recognize.
Yeah.
You know, so again is the prefix, and cognize is to know. So
Yeah.
re-knowing that this is why I feel this way or why this triggered me this way. Reminding your partner or whoever it is that this is why, and then you are able to be like, okay, you know what? Yeah, that had nothing to do with that other situation.
Yeah.
So I apologize for my reaction,
Right.
and then, and
That's
man, I'm telling
big.
you, yeah, that's
That's big.
major.
Yeah.
And being able to do that, just like I messed up. I messed up. I felt something that I felt was true in the moment. Like there's something that I hear a lot that I don't agree with. Perception is reality. I don't believe that at all. Like you may perceive something to be true, but if it's not true, it's not true. To me, there's factual and then how you feel. Now, you may feel something and it may make it real to you, but it's not the reality of the whole.
Yeah.
Um, and we get caught up on how you perceive something to be truth. Just because you perceive it to be truth, it's like you could see. Oh, I'm giving a hilarious analogy. Um, did you see the niggas post about the possum in the house?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Was it really a
So
possum in the house?
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a possum in the house. So I was getting ready for work, and and so I'm like I said, I'm getting ready for work, and I hear her screaming, "Oh my God, it's a rat!" And then I heard her voice. She was screaming and going the other way, and I'm like, "Babe, what's going on? Babe, what's up?" "There's a rat!" And I hear this going at a distance. She sounded like Kevin McAllister from from Home Alone. So she was like, "It's a big rat! It's a big rat!" I came out the room and I was standing in the area where this possum was, and I didn't see it. And then I eventually like I walked up the hallway and came back, and I saw it in the corner, and I was like, "That's a baby. That's a baby," and it was so cute. It's a little cute possum. So
What in
maybe
the
this might.
world? Ain't
I
nothing
love
more
animals.
cute.
Okay, no, this one was he was cute. So anyway, I saw him, and I like kind of led it to the living room, and then picked it up with a towel and took it outside. But the perception was that it was a huge rat, and when I got it, it was a little bitty. I mean, it was like about this big with a long tail, you know, and it was cute. The little thing hissed at me, and I was like, "Man, I'll beat you down. Calm yourself down." He's like, "I was like, go this way," and I pointed to the possum, and then went towards the door.
What in the you animal whisperer?
But going back to what I said though, her perception was it was a huge rat, and she would not come back to tell me what was going on. So I had to figure out in the moment what was going on. But we perceive things as like when it comes to trauma in relationship, we perceive things to be bigger than they really are. We suffer more in our thoughts than
Yeah,
in reality. You know, how we judge, how we perceive the situation. Um,
yep.
and so coming to the realization, what you doing with my money? Sorry.
Oh
um,
Lord.
yeah, so we perceive things to be bigger than they are, and we suffer because of our perception of a thing, as
Yeah,
opposed to what's really happening. The
yeah,
suffering is all in the mind.
yeah. Oh,
You know,
that's scary.
I with the possum,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
he was
So
cute. He was really cute.
ain't nothing about the even the thought of it cute.
If you see a
But I'm
baby now, like
glad.
grown, they ugly as hell. I mean, they ugly.
I know. I
They deep
seen one.
country ugly.
I was at Daddy's house one time years ago, and I
Yeah.
think I was with Chris. But anyway, there was one on the walking on the um. It was outside on the porch, walking on the like banister kind of thing. I was like,
Hmm.
oh man. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's leave that
They
alone.
grew up ugly. They grew up ugly. You keep going. I need to take a quick break.
Okay. So Mark said a couple things here. Someone asked me online, do you want to deal with someone who has baggage, meaning kids? I asked him who doesn't have baggage, particularly at a certain age. Everybody don't have kids, Mark. You know that. If not kid baggage, at least personality baggage. People definitely have personality baggage. Definitely, because like we were talking about a little while ago, we all got stuff, that we still carrying around, whether by choice or, you know, by, being brought back to our remembrance, by being triggered. Um, so we have to decide and choose when we're being triggered by something. Um, when something comes back to mind, we're being triggered. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to get angry and lash out at the person that didn't cause the injury? Or are we have a choice to stop and pause, before responding. So when we react, then that person, the other person more than likely is going to react to our reactions. And then, like I said earlier, it doesn't create an atmosphere of trust or what's the other word?
I
What you
know
gonna
he's
say?
dealing with the whole notion of his gardening and everything else or whatever he's getting done in his yard. But I was actually going to tease you because I don't know if you saw the next thing, but I said even Adisa's dog is a form of baggage. Sure, don't tell her that I said that because I know that dog listens. I know that dog has got human emotions. I'm convinced that she understands and speaks human. I'm convinced that she even. I think that she does a critique session with Adisa after the show. So I think that she goes there and critiques Adisa after the show because I think that's one smart dog that Adisa has. But he can let me know what he thinks when he comes back. But to your other point about the possums, it's actually interesting y'all were talking about that because I had a former board member come by yesterday, and she used to be a board member at the cultural center that I work at, and she was talking about how she heard a scratch on her door and she just knew it was a mouse and everything. So she brought like her house person that takes a look at the house, and they couldn't find anything. They went through the area near her art studio because she's also a visual artist, and they couldn't find the mouse. They couldn't find what was causing the scratching and everything like that. So then she called the plumber in, and they took the whole wall. They think they cut through the wall and found it, everything. It turned out that it was actually, if you have, if you don't let the water flow in sinks, it'll start collecting and everything, and it'll be dead water, which can create like a decaying odor. So that's actually what it was. It was like the water that was there creating a decaying odor and everything like that. So what she was smelling that she thought was a dead animal was actually some of that decaying kind of water, if I remember correctly, because I do know that it can leave that odor kind of smell and everything like that. So that's what she found out. And the other bad thing that can lead to is it can lead to drain flies, because they like to go in places like that where it's like dormant water and everything like that. So that can lead to drain flies, which is a whole nother problem that your house might have and everything that. So there's all kinds of things that can cause problems and everything like that. But yeah, because I know that even Mom, and that's I think the last comment that I put up there and everything. I know that she's had snakes roll into her house, and she's had birds, and we've even had birds get stuck at the haytime, and they're not fun trying to get them out, because if they fly into the building, particularly a building that's got multiple stories, then they figure that they're supposed to fly all over the place, and then you got to try to figure out how to get them out. And birds are also not the brightest animals in the world. I know, not getting away from the bully conversation, but I do have something I want to bring up about bullies. But birds aren't the smartest animals in the world, because we also get kamikaze birds, which means they'll see the glass. It's kind of like that commercial that you used to see. They'll see the glass and everything like that. So they think that the glass is something that they can fly through, and then they wind up committing suicide. So they wind up being kamikaze birds. While Adisa taking a break, coming back to the bully conversation, I saw something this morning that had me thinking about this and everything along those lines. There was a gentleman, they're doing some construction near our bus terminal. So there was like a piece of wood or piece of pipe, and it looked like it was a very sturdy piece of pipe and everything like that. And I'm thinking this guy might have been partially homeless or partially like in that kind of space and everything. So he actually picked it up, saw that it had some weight to it and everything like that. He's like, yeah, I'm going to keep this and everything like that. So I think he was thinking that this would be a good weapon of protection should he be getting bullied by some of the people that might be trying to hassle him, because he's in a vulnerable position, because he's like in that whole position of possibly being homeless and everything like that. But I was just laughing because I heard him and his buddy, and he picked it up and it was like real solid. And he's like, oh yeah, this is solid. I can go up somebody's head with this.
So the whole animal thing, I mean, the birds, the snakes, the possums, the raccoons and mice and all of that stuff, some people might like them and some might not. And I don't like them. So I can't even imagine having to deal with any of those. But did you
can deal with turtles? I told you before, my dad is an avid turtle collector. He's had everything from like the big tortoises, and that was Buttercup, which is a weird name for a turtle, but that was his turtle, Buttercup. It was a land tortoise, but he's also had like little small like pocket turtles and everything like that. So Dad has been into turtles for a year. He now has a totem image that's like a statue called Bamboo the Turtle. So it's not a real turtle, but it's a fake turtle that goes with him on trips, and he makes whole cartoons about Bamboo the Turtle and everything like that. But he has some, I think he still has some real living turtles as well. But he's always had a affinity for turtles, and I know some others that have had affinities for other small animals like hamsters and gerbils and stuff like that. But you're just saying that you're not. If it's not a dog or maybe even a cat, you're not much of a pet person at all.
Right. I want it to be a dog. If it's mine, I want it to be a dog. Now, I can deal with cats better than I used to be able to. But my preference is dogs.
Gotcha. But not trying to do any of the specialty animals like turtles
No. I don't need none of that. And you know what? Talking about bullies make me think about when I first started hearing about dogs being called bullies. and that was on Instagram. And I used to, when I first, that was a few years back when I first started hearing it, and I was like, what in the world? How are, so anyway, that was
There are
just kind
certain
of mind
animals that
blowing.
are bred to be bullies and everything like that. So I think that that's where that comes from. And I know some people that have some animals, and I'll mention a breed and everything like that that are bred to be fighters. So some people that have either Rottweilers or pit bulls, I think that that's where that conversation used to come from, because there are people that even breed them for dog fighting and everything
Mhm.
like that. So I think that that's partially where that conversation of animals being bullies and everything. But I've also seen, because I've had cats, I've seen cats be bullies and everything like that. There's a whole cartoon thing. If you look up Lex Scoop, I think is her name, but she's got like this running cartoon with these cat characters and everything like that. And one of them is a Spanish cat, and then there's a cat that's like, I think, an Italian mob cat and everything like that. But there's this whole cartoon series that she's put together, like a meme series and everything like that. And they were actually holding elections. But yeah, there's this whole notion of animals can be bullies too, because a lot of times they want to control their neighborhood, and that goes for
Yeah,
both. But both of the traditional pets, which is dogs and cats, because I do know some
yeah.
cats that are very much territorial. That's the word I was
That's
looking
what I
for.
was getting ready to say too. The word I was getting ready to say, because they can be very territorial, especially dogs. I didn't know cats were that way,
Cats
but
can be territorial too. Both of them can be territorial, and it's funny. I mean, part of what y'all talk about on this bullying show is relationships, and I do know that some of the cats and dogs can be very territorial, even to the point of, if you're in a relationship and they don't like the person, they will let the person know that they don't like them and everything
yeah,
like that. I've had some friends of mine that were, it was very clear that either their dog or their cat did not like the person that they were trying to talk to, and they kind of, I was joking about it with a diss and everything, but they did kind of like come up with this idea of, I don't like that person, so they got to go because
yeah.
this is my house too, so they got to go.
And I have seen that happen too. So, and even little kids,
Mhm.
they smart enough to, smart enough to know when somebody, ain't cool.
Right.
This ain't a good person. And so you
No,
might not know that until later, or find that out until later. Oh, that's why they were doing this, around this person, because they didn't like them. Um,
no.
or that person actually shows themselves, and then you're like, oh, I see. That's why my dog or cat, didn't like them or didn't
Well,
want
like
them
you said,
around.
or even young children and teenagers and everything can pick up on people's. Friend of mine calls it energy and everything like that,
Yeah,
but they can pick up on that energy, and sometimes they don't like that energy, and they will squash whatever that negative energy is very quickly and everything like that. So yeah, I've seen that in my own relationships as well as relationships with that friends of mine have had. So yeah, kids can be very in tune and everything like that,
yep,
because I mean, and I think that we even become in tune with them, because I don't know how you were with your children when they were youngsters and everything like that, but I do know some parents that were judgmental of their kids, significant others, and everything like that. I'm very curious to see what is going to happen next year, because I don't know that he's had many dates. I'm sure he's had some, but I just don't know what the extent of them was. I'm close to my nephews. I'm not close enough to be in their business in that way and everything. But I do know
yeah.
that my oldest nephew, I've only got two, will be going off to college. He'll be actually going to Greensboro, which is a town near us and everything. So I'm really curious to see both what my brother and what my not so much my mother, their grandmother, but what my brother and their mother does, in the sense of keeping an eye on who they are dating, even though they're going to be independent as college kids and everything like that. And if they bring somebody to the house as a date on, say, next Thanksgiving, but that might be a little bit too soon. But let's say next Thanksgiving or next Christmas, I'll be curious to see what the family reaction is and everything like that. Because I do know that sometimes parents will be judgmental. We were talking about judgmental earlier, and sometimes parents will be judgmental, and you might have been judgmental with your kids as well. But this will be the first time that they would have gone off, because I don't remember them going off to camps that I remember and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this college experience works out, and if he gets in the dating lane, what my brother and my former sister-in-law's attitudes are.
Yeah, you're right. Parents can be judgmental as well. I tend to, um, and I'm like this with everybody though. Um, I tend to, I, when I have a relationship with anybody,
Yeah.
um, and so I'm okay with the relationship until I see, like I said earlier, something happen or you say something crazy or do something crazy, then I'm like, okay, let me just watch before I get in the full judgmental mode because,
I can give
this,
you because I can give you two examples on my own life and everything. I know that there was a woman, speaking of bullying, that brought her past relationships into my relationship and everything like this. And this was decades ago, but I do remember that she brought some of that past judgment. And I think I've mentioned it on your show before, where it was the point that when we broke up, because she was thinking that I was looking at other people, even though I wasn't, and I was
yeah,
in a public job just like I am now and everything. So I remember one time she literally told me to go back in the back and to go into a back office, which was our education office. And I, being naive, went ahead and did that. I think it might have been in my 30s, maybe even, I don't think I was 40s at the time, but I went ahead and did that and everything like that. But I just remember one visiting mom, and she was living in Winston-Salem at the time, and she noticed that I was literally, I think we were going to like Lowe's or one of them kind of stores, and she noticed that I was literally looking at the ground because she had done that much of a number on me and everything like that, that I didn't realize that how much in my head that she had got. So mom was like, why are you looking at the ground? And that's when I realized what I was doing. And we had a nice, heartful conversation about that relationship and the toxicity of that relationship. And it wasn't that long a relationship. It was probably less than a year in that particular case. But just in that less than a year period, they did a number on my head and everything like that mom recognized. And this was probably some 25 years ago and everything like that. And a more recent one that I talked about even on another friend's podcast is I had somebody that was a little bit bold because, bullies can also be bold and everything like that. So she had come to visit, I want to say it's the house that mom lives in now and everything like that. And she was laying claim to our family property even before I put a wedding ring or thoughts of a wedding ring on her hand and everything like that. So I remember she had made a comment in mom's earshot. I think we were looking at pictures and everything like that. And she's like, this is going to be ours one day. And I think mom was looking like, you haven't even proposed to this girl and you still trying to figure out if you like her. And she's laying claim to our property and everything like that. Cause she's like, this is going to be ours one day. Not realizing that, I do have a younger brother. Mom's got other family members, including sisters. So there was no guarantee because I'm sure I could find it if I wanted to, what's in the will, but there's no guarantee that I even have the house in the will. But she was
right.
going to make that judgment before even knowing whether that was even the case or not. Because mom may have it where I get that, because mom's got that house. I think she's got some other property, and she definitely has other things that are of value. So there's no guarantee that the house is even going to be mine to be had. But she was going to make that claim on it even before we had established us being in a relationship.
That's sad. So I was in a relationship similar to, and so I've heard you share both of those stories
Mm-hmm.
about those relationships. And I was in a relationship after my kid's daddy, my
Mm-hmm.
first husband. I was in a relationship and he was abusive like that. And I didn't know, what it was. And I hadn't been in a relationship like that. So it was just weird. But I mean, we would go places and I was looking down all the time
Mm-hmm.
because, when we would get back home, he wouldn't say anything to me in public. But like we went clubbing quite a bit, and he was a DJ uh, too. And so we would go back home and he would push me, and he would push me hard,
Mm-hmm.
as soon as we got out of the vehicle, push me hard enough to where I would fall. And then so I'm getting up and he's up on me again, pushing me down again. And so that's something that he did, because he was so insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he even did it. He was living with his mom.
Mm-hmm.
And he even did it at her house. One time we were out in the front yard. And then this is crazy because I've been thinking because I've been thinking about this. I've thought about this a few times recently, and I don't even know. Remember, I was driving, and it made me think about when I got a new car. Um, and I got the car, and he was jealous because I got the new car, and he used to have a Firebird,
Okay.
but he ended up losing his car, and so I got a new car after that. And once I got the new car, then he was driving, and I'm in the passenger side, and he, I don't even remember what he said, but we were sitting there at the light, and some cars were coming from the other direction, and he pulled out there in front of the car that was coming toward us. So, it was coming sideways toward us. He pulled out there in the traffic and just sat there. And I was thankful that the car didn't hit us. But after that, and some other stuff happened. But after that, I was like, this dude is crazy.
Yeah, sometimes that craziness, you don't know what's going to happen to you, because
Hmm.
because I think I may have mentioned it before, but I don't mention it often. But I knew one of those relationships. I think it's one I was talking about with the situation with me looking down and their jealousy and everything like that. But I do know that they basically things can trigger you that can get you to snap and everything like that. So I do know
Hmm.
that I had a I won't say a psychotic break snap, but definitely it triggered me probably to say some stupid stuff, and I don't even remember what I said and everything like that. But if somebody, because you don't know whether it's loaded or not, but if you're in a relationship and somebody pulls out a gun, there's no telling what you might say. Because I do remember that happening in that toxic relationship as well. Because I think they were upset, and like I said, I think it came out from around the corner from the mattress, and I'm going like, I don't know if that gun's loaded or not loaded, but and I probably said something very off the wall and everything like
Yeah.
that. I was just trying to get myself out of that situation, so I don't even know what I said, but it's probably something very off the wall just to try to get them to get me out of that situation.
So after that, did you continue?
That was the last straw. After that,
Okay,
after that
good.
incident, I mean, that was right before the trauma of the us talking and them wanting. I should have left after the periods of the situation with the toxicity and me looking down. I should have left at that point, but the gun incident was the final straw, and that's when I left. I've left twice in toxic situations. In that situation, another time in another relationship, somebody threw something at me. I think it was either an iron or a plate. It was something they threw
Oh my
and
goodness.
at me. So both of those, whether it was the gun or it was the it might have even been a shoe, whether it was a shoe or something being thrown at me, and definitely the weapon. I was like, no, I'm out. I'm not putting my life in danger. I mean, I like a lot of things in life, and one thing that I definitely like is life. It's a very precious gift, and we never know when it's going to end, because we all
Right.
have a beginning date and an end date. But what we do with that dash in between is what I've always heard is the important part and everything. But I don't believe in putting yourself in harm's danger and everything like that. So once I saw that I was in harm's danger, I'm like, no, I'm out.
Yeah. And the thing about those kind of relationships now is those kind of relationships can um, end in death quickly, or
Oh yeah.
end in somebody being hurt quickly, especially now. You know, things were always there. This mental health thing,
Hmm.
has always been going on, but now that it's spoken about more and taught about more, um, like the relationships that we were just talking about, those people had mental health issues. Why
Hmm.
would you do? I mean, so now, because I'm more aware of it and I've learned about it and I see it more. I mean, we see it so often, in the news and just in the city, and just hearing people talking about things, that are
Hmm.
going on and that has happened.
Yeah, and sometimes
People,
I'm sorry, and sometimes it's not just individuals that can be hurt that way, because a one of those relationships I was referring to, I think it was the shoe sewing person, and they even admitted that they had some problems because they were going through some bipolar relationships, and they've been through therapy since and everything like that. And we are actually on speaking terms now as friends. I don't know that it'll ever be a relationship, but we have actually both seen the improvements on both of our sides and everything like that. But I also remember that at that time I was living with them and their kids and everything like that, because they had two kids, one in high school, one at that time that was in junior high. These are both grown women now
mhm,
and everything like that. But I do remember that our across the street neighbor was in a toxic
Okay.
relationship, in the sense that they were um, in fights all the time, and they were in a very toxic relationship and all along those lines. And the police responded and everything like that. And I may have shared this story with you before. I know I've definitely shared it on some of the other shows, including the one you were just talking about, the other show that I've got to get with Izzy and Coach to see when they're coming back and everything like that. But they got tased, and this was right before the pandemic, so it's probably like 10, 15 years ago and everything like that. But they got tased by the police and they lost their life. So like I said, it's also a matter of sometimes the response can also be what takes you out, because police are trained to neutralize you, and sometimes they don't know what your body situation is going to be. So sometimes if you're tased, it's only supposed to knock you out and calm you and everything like that. But some people have different reactions. So I do remember that particular person, because I remember us inquiring as to what happened, and because we saw the body under the tarp and everything like that, and he had literally been tased and killed because I think he had like a heart tremor or something going on. So when they tased him, it took him out and everything like that. And he was abusive. He was an abusive gentleman in that relationship. And I'm not saying that to say that he should have been eliminated that way, but the police didn't know when they tased him. They just thinking that they're neutralizing him. They didn't realize that he had other issues that would cause him not to be here on this planet.
Maybe, can you hear me, Gene?
Yes.
Sorry about all that. I'll let y'all get back to the show. I'm sorry if I got into a sidetrack.
No, I wanted you, that was good. I appreciate you coming in. It's just that Gene can't hear you for some reason, but he can hear me, so we'll just continue. So thanks for jumping in, Mark, and having the conversation with me.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that needed to be said. So I don't know how much you heard. You want me to go forward? Because we were talking about relationships, being in relationships where people, have been bullied, being in abusive relationships, basically with people that have mental health issues, but we didn't know that, then we just, knew we were being abused and maybe not even thinking of it as abuse back then, but we knew that, it wasn't right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for sure. I definitely, have experience with that. Cause I don't know if I told you, but you know who said that she was diagnosed as bipolar by her doctor, but then she also simultaneously said that she was like, I don't want to take medicine. I'm just going to exercise to help myself, balance out stuff. And she said her doctor, commended her for that. And it's like bipolar mania disorder is not uh, solved or done away with by exercise. It
Right.
helps. It
Yeah.
helps, but there's a chemical imbalance
Right.
in the brain and in the
Yep.
body that causes bipolar mania disorder. So you
Yep.
need medication.
Yep.
So I think, and, as we know, people with personality disorders tend to, especially narcissistic personality disorder, tend to lie. They tell half truths. They tell half truths. They give you some fact, and then they add a lie to it to make the lie go beyond your subconscious mind. There's
Yeah.
some truth given here, like for I don't know if I told you what happened. Well, I'll talk about that later. Um,
2 weeks ago.
was it 2 weeks? Talking about the call?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there was like, with the lie, there was a partial truth told, a truth told there, and then and a lie added to the back end, and that's how they do it. They load it up with truth on the front. They load it up with some semblance of truth on the front end, and backload it with BS to make it sink and make it, make it anchor. Um,
And
but yeah, so
what ended up in that particular situation, I'm listening to you. I'm just meeting you, but I'm listening to you, and I can tell that you're not, that just you making up some stuff.
right,
So, uh,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if there was more after that, I don't know about it. Um,
Nah, there's no more. I'm still waiting on a call back to see, what the
okay,
next step is.
okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so when things like that happen, and we were talking about learning to love without fear. And so what we've been sharing is loving people, and it also the relationship being full of fear. And
Yeah,
so that's
right.
what Mark and I have been talking about. And so if you want to add something else, let me know. So sometimes people say I don't need anyone, but what they're really saying is I don't trust what love costs. Receiving love requires vulnerability, and vulnerability
Mhm.
feels dangerous when you've been hurt. So people self-protect by staying guarded.
Uh,
So let me know when you're
okay,
ready.
gotcha. All right, so yeah, receiving love is a skill. It's learned slowly. Like all skills are learned slowly with consistency over time. Uh,
Yep.
it's learned slowly through safe people, clear boundaries, and allowing kindness without over explaining or earning it. Love does not need to be proven to be real. So let's talk about some times in relationships that we've had that didn't prove to be a real love. Um, and how does that make you feel? So, ladies first, ladies first, ladies. Oh, single ladies, oh, single ladies.
So like in what I shared about the relationship that I was in, I wasn't safe, and what Mark shared, he wasn't safe. But we stayed in the relationship for whatever length of time we did after finding out, that the relationship, wasn't safe, or we left, um,
That's right.
depending on what actually happened, the extreme to what happened. So it's so hard to believe that love is real when things, like when real love comes after that. And so going back to the beginning of the conversation, talking about, you know, um, you and Danica, for example, and the things that y'all experienced in the past, and then coming together, and then having to learn how to decipher, you know, um, things that were happening. And okay, this didn't really happen because of you. I'm just triggered because of, something, in the past.
Right.
It's really hard to love, but then something that I want to say that she said to me one time, uh and it was said to me a few weeks ago when I was traveling,
Hmm.
and I don't remember the whole thing, but I just remember her saying these words. She said, "Oh, he's easy to love." And so
Yeah.
somebody said that to me.
Yeah.
We were talking, having a conversation, and they said, "Oh, you're easy to love." And I was like, wow. And so it took me back to hearing Danica say that, about you, because
Yeah.
I never heard nobody say that before. But I was
Right.
like, man, just even saying it now, just thinking about where
Yeah.
we've been, and where we are now,
Right.
in our minds, from the experiences that we've had, we're more at peace, and we, are, even if people don't, accept us or don't want to have anything to do with us, it's hard, but it's not as hard as it was because we've grown in this thing, and we're
Yeah.
like, well, I love me, you know.
Right.
I might not, still fully believe that I'm easy to love, but I'm getting there. I'm well on my
Right.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I will admit that like hearing that I'm easy to love, and then the BS that I went through in the last relationship, like
Yeah.
it feels hard to believe.
Yeah.
Like my immediate thought is then why have I been through so much ish with
Yep.
people? You
Yep.
know, like I love unconditionally. I'm a 100% either zero or 100. There's no
Yep.
middle ground for me. I'm
Yep.
all in with you, or I'm all out with you.
Yep.
So hearing that, I'm easy to love, like, yeah, even past relationships, I never felt like that. So like
Yeah.
maybe I was difficult, too intense, I required too much or whatever, um, from my partner. So hearing that I'm easy to love is a blessing. That I still have to believe within myself. Cause she tells me that often. I tell her every once in a while, like, thank you for loving me unconditionally.
Yep.
She be like, baby, you're easy to love.
Yep.
And immediately I'm like, I don't believe that. I couldn't be too easy
And
to
that's the
love.
problem. That's the
Right. Yeah.
problem. We don't
Yeah.
believe it ourselves, you
Yeah.
know. So we're gonna get there though. Because
Yeah.
when I
Right.
heard
Right.
those words, like I said, it just took me right back to hearing Danica say that about you, because that was the first time. And
Yeah.
then the second time to hear it,
About
said
yourself.
about me, I was like,
Yeah.
wow. And so I was experiencing a lot of love, understanding a lot of love, on that last
Yeah.
trip. And
Yeah.
so, I really understood that the people that I was with, they really loved me. And I
Yeah.
really, the ministry team. And then I
Yeah.
really understood that God loves me. I mean,
Yeah.
He really loves me to have me in these, you know, in these places.
Situations. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
so, and then something I can say on here, that I'm experiencing now is a changing of the guard. And to hear
Mm.
those words this week, and then to see the things that I'm going through and the things that I'm experiencing and how I'm not freaking out, like I used to. I used to freak out when certain things was like what's been happening in my life is going on.
Yeah.
But I know that I know how to love me now. I know how to appreciate me. I know how to, have peace. I demand peace. I know how to
Man, I
accept.
love that.
I know how to accept when somebody, ain't feeling me. I ain't feeling. I'll just say ain't feeling me. In whatever way. In a whatever kind of relationship. And so it feels so good to be in the skin. I'm
There
saying
we
it
go.
like that, but I don't know how else to say it. It just feels great. So to be able to be loved and to hear, I love you, and to know that, this person or these people, or,
Right.
like I said, that God really loves me. It's like, I mean, it just takes that sadness of the desire to be wanted
Yeah.
away.
Yep.
I am wanted. It might not be by you and you and you and you and you,
Right.
but
Right.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I put, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a beautiful thing to be truly loved unconditionally and accepted unconditionally. You
Yep.
know, um, that's man, like that is I can't even really explain it the way I want to. It's like it lifts a load off of you. Like I am somebody. I am
Right.
important. I am smart. You know,
Right. Hey,
the feel.
Pamela. We
Hey,
love
hey,
you too, honey bun. She said she miss us. We miss you too.
man, miss you too. Hell yeah. Man, it is difficult to come to terms with that, but it's a blessing that is like the next goal, to accept that you are easy to love and
Yeah.
continue being the high vibrational, loving, supportive, authentic, genuine person that you are.
Yep.
I tell people all the time, man, like I've come to terms with a certain thing about myself. Like I'm who I am. I I don't have the capacity anymore, Yeah, we miss you too. I don't have the capacity to fake or perform to
Right.
be acceptable by people,
Right.
and sometimes that feels lonely
Yeah.
because you feel like you have to be on guard. You know, you're so used to being crapped on
Yep.
that you look at everybody like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but how you gonna react? You know what I mean? So it's a process, and I think we should always, like they say in the streets, keep your head on the swivel.
Yep.
Like do that relationally, do that, with business. Um, it's important that that you stay vigilant about protecting your own heart, your own
Yep.
peace of mind,
Yep.
because ain't nobody gonna do that for you.
Right.
You're the
Nobody.
you right. You are the author and the finisher of your own peace of mind.
Yep.
It's no one else's job.
Yep.
No one else's job. What's
Mm,
up,
y'all
man?
are
What's
wrapping
up?
up and everything like that, getting ready to wrap up, and I saw that and
I can't
everything.
hear you.
But you still can't hear me? You can hear me, can't you?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Okay.
so you can hear me, but he can't hear me and everything like that. But just really quickly in that same line, because we got another show coming up at 8 o'clock that'll be in that similar space, but not just loving yourself at the time of health and everything like that, but also in sickness. Because I know that the young lady, Shanice Cradle, who does a show called Dream Stocks, but she is a cancer survivor and all along those lines. So sometimes it's also, I know that they talk about in relationships, in sickness and in health and everything like that. And she's a single mother and all along those lines. But I do know that she's gone through some hard times. And I think she's even been in some abusive relationships in the past and everything like that. But a part of that loving yourself is even loving yourself when the doctors and other folks have told you that you're supposed to be gone. Because I think that they told her she should have been gone like some months ago. But she has that love of life, love of wanting to be still there for her kids and to some goals that she wants to still achieve, including some goals here on the television land and everything like that. But she's got that positive attitude, and that's an important part of the whole conversation, even when fighting against bullies and everything. That's that line as well. So I know that her show will be coming up at 8 o'clock. She actually just sent me a new episode and everything like that. But yeah, I do know that that's a conversation that even she brings up because whether it's new relationships or whether it's old relationships, they have to understand that they are getting the whole her, meaning they're getting the whole person that is this lovely woman and everything. But they also have to realize that they are dealing with somebody that has ailments. I mean, I can say the same thing about my younger brother who's got MS and everything like that. So a lot of times people are not willing to deal with that. And sometimes you even wind up bringing, speaking of baggage, past situations. Because I know that even his now ex-girlfriend and everything, she had never really gotten over her ex-husband and everything like that, which is part of the reason I think that they're not together anymore is because she was still coping with that loss and probably still had not fully healed from her past loss of her husband, even though that was several years ago, and she's been dating my brother for a number of years and everything like that. But yeah, I'm just saying that the part of that healing is also the health, because I know Gene's very much into the health space, but there's that health healing as well, which is very important also.
Yep. Yep. So true. Thank you for sharing. Y'all, we are at the end of our show. And we will see y'all next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Pamela, for joining us and for sharing. She said, love is the key that unlocks the soul. Right on. Show enough
Hey,
is.
right on. Right. What
All
you
right, y'all.
said, what you said.
All right, y'all. Take care. We send you peace. We send you
I
love.
like this other thing that
Take
she said
care.
too. She said, "You said it's so true. I will always be who I am at all times." So I like that quote from Pam too.
Yep. Yep. All right, y'all. Take care. See you next week.
See you next week.